Hi guys, this is Pestily and welcome to another Escape for Tarkov video. In this video, I'm going to go over the Code Red tournament, how I won, the loadout I used, and just I'll go over the rules quickly and the strategy I used to win the tournament. So guys, without further ado, let's crack straight into it. Alright, so the way the tournament was is whoever had the most amount of money at the end of the tournament was to win. So it came down to two things really, how much cash you had in your stash, plus dog tags. Now, the overview would be each player started with a level 40 account with 1,000,000 rubles, 1 labs key card, a gamma container, and a dog tag case. All traders were unlocked except for Jaeger. So you can see here, Jaeger was locked. You could use your PMC or your scav. It didn't make any difference. You could use both. You couldn't do hatchling runs. You couldn't go factory. And you could not buy and sell via the flea market, but you could use the flea market menu for dealers, which I didn't use at all. On top of that, dog tags were valued at 200,000 rubles, and players could not, or you could sell the dog tags to the traders, but you wouldn't get the 200,000 rubles for each dog tag. And so it was pretty straightforward. First place got $5,000, second place got 3,000, and third place got 2,000, which every single one of us, Fleeing Dr. Lupo and myself, we donated all to the Starlight Children's Foundation. So that was really awesome of the other guys to chip in as well with that. Now, the strategy I used was very straightforward. Money was going to be a major factor here, and you didn't want to overcommit. So the gamma container, I would go in with that pretty much just for my meds. You weren't able to buy any of the good meds, right? So labels and all that are locked behind quests, like the Soleil was locked behind a Prapper quest. The rest of the meds through Therapist are all locked behind quests, and you're not going to go, through these to get these quests done. That would just be a waste of time. So I didn't bother doing any of that stuff. I pretty much just tried to power through getting the quest done. The money done as much as possible. Now, one thing that I didn't notice straight away was the scav run. Everyone was using straight away, and I didn't realize how good a scav run can be because of the fact there's no risk of loss. So my strategy for a scav run was to go into interchange. The advantage of interchange was you got an extract on each side. If you're hearing a lot of firing when you get in there on one side of the map, you could run to the other to extract. I would just grab whatever high value items were around me and pretty much head straight for the extract. Maybe kill a player or a scav on the way out if possible. But really, it was more about surviving. Just flip that money out because it was just easy money and keep that raid nice and quick. So interchange I found was the best map for that, and that's why I went with that. As for the PMC runs, now for guns I use the PP19. Now in some of my newer player guides and that, I talk about how much I love the PP19. To me, it's one of my go-to budget guns. It's very fast firing. It has little recoil. The first bullet hits on point. Second one goes up. Then it goes back to pretty much on point. I chuck on a Cobra sight, which is only 9,000 rubles. So you're 9,000 deep there. Your PP19 is 20,000. So you're 29,000 rubles for your gun. And then a couple of spare mags. They're really cheap. I'd probably go, I think I was going 3 mags. Yeah, I was going 3 mags for the entire loadout. I'd go over to Ragman, and for my helmet, I was actually going Kiva face shield because I was the fear of hatchlings and pistolings, and then the armor was the 6B23. As it came across for the rigs, I was using the Blackrock rig, and my strategy was to go onto reserve and use the sewer extract. Now, a lot of people were trying to stay in their raids for a long period of time. I didn't want to do that at all. So I got my PST GZH ammo from Mechanic, which was super cheap. You don't really have to stress too much about that. For meds, I would literally just be like AI2. I think I took a bandage and a painkiller. I don't even think if I had a splint spare, I'd take it, but it was pretty much that was my entire loadout. I would have the gamma container. The meds in the gamma container, and that was it. Now, the reason why the gamma container is missing, the dog tag case is missing, is the fact that we sold them all at the end just to get that extra bit of cash. The gamma container sold for 1.5 million, and the dog tag case is about 1 million. Sorry, about 150k. So about 1.6 million added to our scores based off something like that. So if we all did it, wouldn't have made too much of a difference either way. I would bind my meds, and I was pretty much into a raid just like that. This is the loadout. I'm going to go into a reserve raid now, and I'm going to show you exactly the route I went. If this wasn't a competition and I could have a key with me and I wanted to do this exact same money run, I would just buy the RBAM key, but I won't do that for this run. I'll just show you what run I'd do. Anyway, let's crack into the raid. Right, so now that we're into the raid, it didn't really matter where I was there. This is the extreme other side, but I actually had these spawns a couple of times. I wouldn't worry about the marker because I didn't have the keys. There was no way of using the flea marker to buy keys. So what I was doing was I was searching jackets from time to time. So if I was to get this spawn, I would cut right over here. Now this is the exact same account. As you can see, all our skills are pretty much 0. My endurance is level 2, just purely from that event, from when I was running around. Now there is 2 buildings over here on the right. Now I would keep an eye out for pistolings and hatchlings. I would have my visor down in this, and that's the crosshair I would use. But I would keep an eye out for a hatchling running from right to left over there. I think I picked one off once or twice. He was sitting down in the RBST room. But I would skip this building entirely. There's no real need to go in there. And I would go into this next building only because of the spawn I got. Is the reason why I would go in here. There is no other reason why I would go into here unless I was running past it. Because there's jackets. Now with jackets you can get keys. If you get a good key, you get a couple 100,000 rubles. Easy peasy lemon squeezy. So inside here, I would quickly check these 2 jackets. We don't really want that. Oh. I would check this jacket right here. And then I would check this jacket right here. That's the only reason why I'd slow up in this building. You could sprint across to try and be first into this next one, but I actually found being first wasn't always the best thing. People would get into here and I would hear them. So there's that room inside here with a lot of electronics, all the service shelves and that. I would hear people in there at this stage and I would come through here ready to kill them. I would have my visor down and pistlings, hatchlings, and even geared guys are killed inside this area. And you want to be fighting them inside here because I find it easier than having them outside with more places to run. So I'm looking on all these shelves for electronics. Just put your mouse up, go up and down like that. On top of here, inside these shelves. This side. One here too. And on top of these right here. Now, in my old money run, I would go upstairs. I wouldn't bother in this tournament because the main focus is the players, right? Players are 200k a kill. So I'd pop back down this side. I would be checking electronics here, and the amount of times I ran into players in this spot as well was actually pretty high, and it worked really well. You want to be looking at the ground here. There can be spawns inside the ground there, inside this bit here. Even though you can't physically see it, you can loot them inside there, and you'd be surprised how many electronics. Offline mode sometimes has a really bad spawn chance, so be it. And then I would run across here, constantly listening out for those players, and then I would go up with this. Now, if another tournament happens in the future and it's similar, I think it'd be really interesting to see how viable this run would be. But I think now that people know what I did, there'll be either people doing something similar or not. Now, inside this room, the drop-down room, depending on how I felt, I'd be looking at all the electronics on the ground here. There's electronics that spawn up here, like iridians and stuff. And then I'd drop down. Try to kill the players in here if they're still in here. Graphics cards, vendor. I remember I only selling them to vendor, 45,000 rubles. So whilst it's like, you know, normally they're worth like 200,000-300,000 rubles. You're not getting a lot of money from them. You're looking for a Tetris on here. Tetris is with gold for the tournament too, because they'll change them over to Bitcoins. They sometimes blend in as well. Flash drives there. I wouldn't stop the searching, and I'd jump out here. I'd check that room first because I'd want to kill any player that's in there before they escape, and also get the loot from there. When I come up top, obviously I would be putting these in my container, and then I would loot this room here. Graphics card spawns here, Tetris as well. I didn't know Tetris spawns there as well, but a graphics card as well does spawn there. And then across here, checking that back shelf there. There's 2 electronic spawns on the back shelf here, one up here, and then one right there. Got that one there. Down to the next room. This shelf here. Now we've got caps there, but they're not really worth that much. But there's the military circuit boards and the military gyro tachometers. They spawn there as well. After that, the only reason why I would go down one floor is because of those meds issues. But you can grab meds from this med bag. No big deal though. That was pretty much the end of the run. The other side of things that I would do if I felt like it was needed, is I would run into this building, but it was just only for the tournament. I would really highly suggest it. If you just want that little bit extra security instead of running out in the open on the roads, I ran into this building just to try and pick up some cheeky meds on the way out. Now, these rooms here, you can just find them on the beds like there. A Slay was spawned at the back. On the shelves here. And then knuckles and all that, they actually do sell pretty good. I would search the duffel bag if I was running past that. Quick check in here. Med kit. And I'd check the weapon crate because it takes up not much space. If you do find a gun, and then I would just be running straight for the sewer extract. Now, I was pulling these off in under probably around 7 minutes, I would say. I'm around the 6 minute 30 at the moment, and that's not running into any fights and that. So around about 7 minutes, I'd probably try and do it if I had a good spawn. Say I spawned in front of that building there, and I skipped that one there, I would do this in about 5 minutes. It's the whole run down. So it's a little bit spawn dependent. But remember, because of the tournament, there was actually the kills that were important as well. So this was pretty much my entire strategy I did throughout the whole time. Kiva face shield and Kiva helmet is actually pretty good. Now I climbed underneath here like this, and I got smacked by the legs. But underrated is this Kiva helmet. It's a level 3 helmet with level 3 face shield. Not too expensive. And honestly, guys, that was my entire run, and it worked a treat. I spent about an hour and a half of the tournament disconnected from the servers, not being able to get back on, whilst everyone was still looting, and I was lucky enough to win. So that worked out quite well in the end for me. So personally, you could use these strategies if you're going to start your own tournament with your mates. Start thinking about the speed in which you can kill players and also get that loot, because it will make a big difference overall. As you can see, I got all these kills, but I also got disconnected from the server 3 times. Once I had 2 dog tags in my gaming container, and they awarded that to me, which gave me an extra 400,000 rubles on top. So, don't underestimate the PP19. This is a solid money run, even if you you're not going for the dog tags as well. And the only room I would add to it is the RBAM room, which is underneath the drop down room, which can have some pretty sweet loot in there too. Face Shield Kiva is actually a really, really good helmet. Most people pay it off, but when you compare it to the ZSH, where you're paying, even if you do have it unlocked from Chemical Part 4, it is Armor Class 4 helmet, but the face shield is Armor Class 3. So you're paying probably an extra, let's see, I think it's about 40k. 40k, 32 and 20, so it's 50 in total. 40 plus 20. Paying an extra 10k for level 4 helmet over a level 3. But as a lower level, guys, all you need is Ragman level 2. You've got this Ragman level 2, Prepper level 2. You've got this entire loadout. You buy your Black Rocks on the flea market cheaper than you can buy them from Ragman, and you'll be sweet. You could do this run. You don't need a gamma container to be very successful with it. Even with a alpha container, it can work really well. I know a lot of people complain about me showing off money runs, but It was a tournament, and I used my strategy that just a variation of my normal money run. And you guys, like, my cash. This is my cash. So take off 1.5 million from the for selling of the gamma and that. I made 6 million in about 5 hours of playing, 4.5 hours of playing. And that was just vendoring everything. That's not including selling stuff on the flea market. I found a key worth about 500k in a jacket. I found, I think, 3 graphics cards which I sold for 45k instead of 300. There was a lot of little things I sold to the vendor, which like I knew chat was just complaining about, but no choice. That's how the tournament rules were. Anyway, guys, I'm going to wrap this video up here. It's a nice and short one, but I just wanted you guys to understand how I won the tournament, the strategy I used. There's some really cool strategies from the other guys. I know Dr. Lupo got a Marks key early, so he was hitting up the Marks room. Anthony Kong fan was doing a lot of labs. It was a really cool tournament. I really liked the structure of it. A couple of tweaks. If the servers were stable, it would actually be a really amazing tournament. And the length of the tournament was pretty good. I probably think maybe 2 more hours. It's a long time to be focused, but the RNG factor, it really plays effect. And the longer the tournament, the less the RNG factor plays an effect, I find. Because even if it's just 1 hour, then someone might get really lucky with drops and the other person might get unlucky. Whereas the longer the tournament is, the more evened out it will become for the RNG side of things. Anyway, guys, thanks for watching another video. If you liked it, give it a thumbs up. Subscribe for future content. I do stream on Twitch every day of the week, because go down the link below, give me a follow there. Got any Tarkov questions, feel free to hit me up on my live stream or down in the comments below. And lastly, I'll see you next time. This is the end of the world as we know it. This is the end of the world as we know it. And I feel fine.